Good morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. Before I go any further with the usual shout outs and stuff, a quick word about some sad news that we had this week concerning the passing of Olivia Newton-John. She had the most amazing music career, did some classic songs, many I've got upstairs on vinyl, loads of them. She also appeared in 2 or 3 of the most amazing films. Obviously Grease. I mean, you can't underestimate the impact that Grease had back then. In 1978, Grease was absolutely everywhere. It was smashing the box office. The soundtrack album was selling millions. Just about every song that was on that album topped the charts, or near enough topped the charts at some point. The whole of the summer of 1978, the charts was dominated by I think You're the One That I Want came out first. That went straight to #1. Summer Nights very shortly after, and they must have taken one look at that and thought, you know what, we might as well release the rest and ride it while it's hot, sort of thing. So we had John Travolta, Sandy, Hopelessly Devoted to You. There were loads of them, and as I say, Grease in 1978, you literally couldn't move for it. It was absolutely everywhere, and it was just, it's a legendary movie. It's a brilliant film. Really enjoyed it. Just in the middle of writing some kind of a like a retrospective little review for it for the website, which I'll try and finish a bit later on and post that. She also appeared in one of my favourite movies, Xanadu, which again had an amazing soundtrack featuring ELO, Cliff Richard. It didn't do critically well. I think the critics hated it. The public weren't that keen on it, but it's gained a kind of a cult following over the years. I personally love it. I think it's brilliant just for the soundtrack. It's a bit of a naff story, but most of the best films sort of naff stories. But I thought that was great, and she also did one called Two of a Kind, which reunited her with John Travolta. I think that one was a bit of a stinker. I remember going to see that at the cinema when it came out. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but it wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be. It's a movie that I need to catch up with again, because I haven't seen it since it first came out, which would have been about 1981, 82, something like that. She also did, way before all that, in 1970, a kind of a science fiction movie, believe it or not, called Tomorrow. And it's about a group of students who form a band to pay their way through college. And an instrument, I think it's called a tonalizer, attracts an alien who abducts them, takes them back to his home planet, and forces them to entertain the locals, who are called Alphoids. Sounds like a stellar piece of work to me. I would not mind watching this, because it's the kind of thing that I do love. We all know that I love sort of rubbish movies. That would have been very early on in a career. But I'm going to track that one down and take a look, because I think with a plot line like that, it deserves a little bit of attention. So I'm going to be tracking that one down, and I'll let you know what I think of it when I've watched it. It's called Tomorrow, spelled T-O-O M-O-R-R-O-W. So yeah, I'll be letting you know what I think of that when I finally got hold of it. But yeah, sad news that we lost her. We've lost a major talent. She'd been battling cancer for quite a few years. I think they sort of cured it, then it came back, then went, and then came back again. But yeah, R.I.P. Olivia, you are sadly missed. Jason, you put a comment on about Prey. I think you enjoyed the Predator movie Prey, and there was something in there to do with Resident Evil, and you said something along the lines of that you don't like anything to do with computer games. You obviously never got into that side of it. Neither did I, mate. I didn't get into the computer games side, and I have to admit I do tend to agree with you as far as not watching movies based on computer games. I will occasionally see a trailer Classic example would be Silent Hill, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. The trailer looked amazing. So obviously I went straight online to find out what it was all about, and then found out promptly that it was based on a computer game, which completely put me off it. Now I don't know why. It is slightly illogical, I suppose, because I'm sure some of these movies are really good, but it's just something within me, and it's pretty much the same with you, I think. That as soon as you find out that a movie's based on a computer game, it puts you off it straight away, and that's how I feel. I still feel like that. I have seen little bits of the original Resident Evil, but I can't quite bring myself to watch the whole thing, so maybe somebody can put me right on that and convince me otherwise, that I should be watching these things. But I can't say that anyone that I've ever seen, or the bits I've seen of Resident Evil, did an awful lot for me. Purely because it was based on a computer game, but I could be wrong, we'll see. What else have I got here? Dave Oliver, couple of cracking videos, mate. Day Shift, the Jamie Foxx movie. I actually wouldn't mind a look at this. From the trailer, it reminds me a lot in look and feel of the John Carpenter movie Vampires, which I saw not too long back, probably a few weeks back. I think it was on the Horror Channel, and I'd forgotten just how good it was. But what I've seen of Day Shift, it kind of reminds me a little bit of that. I think you enjoyed it. I believe there's one actor in there. Is it Dave? What's his name? Dave Franco? I'm not familiar with him, but I will be looking out for him, and I will be having a look at Day Shift because I quite like the look of that. But you didn't like that character at all, so I'm going to be taking a look at that at some point and seeing what I think. Also, your review of Friday the 13th, spot on, apart from one thing. I honestly do think the first one is the best. That caught me off guard when you said that you didn't think it was the best. I expected you to think that the original is by far the best, which is what I think. And you're right about the shock value of the end. I remember going to see that at Burton Odeon in 1980 when it first came out. I arrived probably 20-30 minutes early, and unlike normally, they would have let you into the screen and you would probably have ended up seeing the ending. They wouldn't let us in. They made us wait outside the screen doors, and all I remember is about 3 or 4 minutes before the movie was due to finish, this collective horrifying scream from everybody inside. I remember hearing that and thinking at the time, Jesus Christ, what have I let myself in for here? People coming out looking sort of laughing and white-faced and all this sort of thing. And obviously, you know, an hour and a half later when the film finished, the screening finished that I'd gone to see, I knew exactly what it was, and I was waiting for it. It come to sort of the last. I assumed it was the beheading of Pamela Voorhees. I thought that was what they were screaming at. So, like everybody else, I was lured into a false sense of security, thinking that it was all over when she was floating across the lake on the canoe, and then it happened. Oh God, never ever forget it. Never forget it. But I agree with you. Betsy Palmer's performance in that takes it head and shoulders above anything else. And I did like the way that they did it through the killer's eyes a lot of the time, and the fact that some of the kills were not shown. But Tom Savini, I don't think has done anything better than the work he did on Friday the 13th. I'm afraid we will disagree on this one. I think the original Friday the 13th is an absolute masterclass in how to make a horror thriller. I never get bored of watching it. I've seen it hundreds of times. I was probably one of the few people who managed to get what they would call back then a pirated VHS copy of it. Now, I didn't realise at the time it cost me a small fortune. I ordered it mail order from an advert that I found in a movie magazine, and when it arrived and I put it on, the quality was not the best. The daytime scenes were just about passable, but the nighttime scenes, you could barely see anything. The soundtrack wasn't brilliant either, so that was a bit of a con. And when it finally came out on official VHS, it was so good to see it looking crystal clear. Certainly a lot better than the pirated copy that I got. And then when it came out on DVD, even better, and then Blu-ray, it just looks stunning. And I think that's going to be one that I will invest in on 4K if they ever do decide to bring out a 4K version of it. That's almost certainly one that I will end up buying, especially if they bring out a full set of all of them. I think I will double dip with that one without a doubt. But yeah, I enjoyed your review of it, mate, and I agree with most of it, apart from the fact that I think the original is the best. Where obviously you think. I'd be curious to know which one is your favourite, because I thought part 2 came a very close second. I thought they probably went a bit downhill after that. I still love them and I will still always watch them, but I think 1 and 2 are easily the best, and I did quite enjoy the reboot they did in 2009. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, but yeah, enjoyed your review of that one, mate. And I put a post on this week, changing the subject completely, with a computer game kind of thing, a Jaws arcade machine stood on the end of a pier, and I basically put, who would like to play this? And it got quite a reaction. I think everybody was impressed with it. And Guy said, how about Retro Game Zone? It's a lovely idea. I mean, if any of you lot want to start it, feel free, you go for it. But like I said, I'm having trouble keeping up with the 3 that I've got. But, you know, when I've got everything under control and running nice and streamlined, I don't think it's such a bad idea. I mean, you guys, I think, would love it. It wouldn't do much for me personally, because I remember arcade games, obviously, but not, if you're talking computer games, if it's after sort of the early 80s, I wouldn't have a clue. And as for Xbox, PlayStation, PS, whatever, I wouldn't even know where to start. Somebody actually tried to teach me how to play one of the military games on Xbox once. Total waste of time. I could not get into it. It bored me stupid because I couldn't figure out how anything worked. So a Retro Game Zone is a nice idea, and if I get everything running nicely with the other 3, I don't see any reason why I couldn't start one. I don't think there's anything else after that. We've got music, we've got TV. If we had gaming, I don't think there's anything else you could do apart from sort of retro products or whatever, like chocolate bars and things. Maybe not. Let me know what you think. Post in the comments below if you think of, you know, and anything else that would look good with the with the Retro Zone label attached to it. What else have I got here? Oh, Guy. Oh my God. Well, first off, let me say a belated happy birthday. I think I did miss it, Guy. I'm so sorry. I don't normally miss stuff like that, but I did miss it. So I hope you had a good day, mate. You passed a comment on a post that somebody put on concerning the Fall Guy, which I believe was the old Lee Majors stuntman drama comedy series from the 70s or possibly 80s. I never watched it, I've never seen it, but you were absolutely against it, and I believe, Caroline, I don't think you were really in favour of it either. It's a series I would like to track down. I enjoyed The $6 Million Man. I used to watch that pretty regular, but for some reason the Fall Guy bypassed me completely, and I actually wouldn't mind mind sort of taking a look at that one. So I'm going to try and track that down and have a go at that one. In my experience, and I put this on the Facebook page, TV adaptations don't always work that well. I did enjoy the first 2 Charlie's Angels movies with Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu. I thought they were amazing. Again, they were not what I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be played completely straight, but they weren't. They were done for laughs, and I thought it worked really, really well. Same as the Starsky and Hutch adaptation. I was really nervous about that one because I used to love Starsky and Hutch. Never missed it. Still enjoy watching it now when it's on. I've got the box sets upstairs, and I keep meaning to get back into those again and have another look. It's been a while since I watched them. But that adaptation was also played for laughs, and I thought they played it really well. I quite enjoyed that one, despite thinking I wouldn't. And also what was the other one? There was another one I mentioned. Oh, I'll have to come back to that, so I can't remember now. Have I written it down? I bet I haven't. But there was another one that did quite. Oh, the Dukes of Hazzard. I thought that was all right. But again, I think it was mostly the casting of that one, because I thought Johnny Knoxville was perfect for that. Wasn't the best, but I don't think it was bad. I really don't. But yeah, the Fall Guy. I can't comment on it because I've not seen it, but I will be taking a look at it, and possibly the movie as well when it comes out. Let's see. Looking forward to the new challenge, Jace. Very much so. 200 days. Bloody hell. That's going to be a good one, starting in January. But it's good because it gives me more time to get mine queued up and ready to go. I've not got very far. I'm still on 1968 at the moment. I don't seem to be able to find the time to progress with that one. But I will get it sorted, absolutely. But certainly looking forward to seeing what this 200-day marathon is going to look like. That's going to be amazing, whatever it is. You answered my questions from last week. I knew the Mean Machine was something to do with the longest yard. I had a feeling that it was, but I wasn't absolutely sure. But I'm glad you've confirmed that. What else have I got here? 12 Years a Slave. Yeah, you said it's brutal. I've not watched it yet. I keep sort of shying away from it because I know that it's going to be fairly nasty. But I will take a look at it when I get a minute. And the comments you made about Swad Cinema. Believe me, I would love, absolutely love, to see a movie inside a cinema for the first time in well over 20 years. As I said before, the last movie I watched was Deep Blue Sea. So whenever that was released, that is the last time that I went. And I swore I'd never go again. But I would like to see something at the cinema. At some point, I will break precedent and literally just off the cuff, I will just go down one afternoon when I pretty much know it's going to be quiet, preferably not during the school holidays or anything like that. When I'm on holiday and everybody else is working, hopefully I'll near enough get the place to myself if I can find the right movie to watch. Possibly one that will get me back in, and I'm going forward a bit here, is there's going to be a reissue, I would imagine, a 50th anniversary reissue of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I would imagine so, but that's not going to be until 2027. So that's 5 years away, and I'm sure I can probably manage it a bit before that, but we'll see. But yeah, Swad Cinema sounds okay. You seem quite happy with it. What's actually wrong with Cineworld? I mean, apart from that one bad experience, is it an okay place to still go? I do remember it was quite plush. That was a while ago though. So yeah, possibly maybe in the future. I may just decide one afternoon to give it a go, but we'll see how we go with that one. The other big news for me was Dress to Kill. Angie Dickinson and Michael Caine is being released on 4K. Now I haven't got my 4K set up yet, but that is a definite purchase. I think Chris, you said that 4Ks that are imported, you do have to get them from abroad, but they are multi-region, so that'll be good. But I will need to be absolutely sure about that before I invest in one from over there, because I've been bitten on the arse a couple of times by Region 1 Blu-rays. I've bought a couple in the past and I've popped them in, and straight away your machine does not support this region, and they were just a complete waste of money. I think they cost about £20 a piece. I think one was Can't Stop the Music, the Village People movie from 1980, which I wanted to see for ages. I saw it a long time ago, but I wanted to see what it looked like on Blu-ray. So I ordered it, and it wouldn't work. And there was another movie, but I can't remember what it was. I can't remember, but it definitely didn't work. So if I'm investing in 4K discs at £25 or whatever, I'm going to need to be sure that they are actually all region before I do that. But yeah, I shall definitely be getting Dress to Kill, and also a copy of Marathon Man, which I believe is coming out very soon. I don't even know what to think about that one. It's an awesome film, absolutely brilliant, but the thought of all that dentistry work in Ultra HD, it doesn't sit right with me. I mean, for 1976, that was really strong stuff, and it was one of the movies that was shown. I don't know whether anybody else remembers this. In the mid 70s and early 80s, ITV started screening controversial adult movies after 9 o'clock, and they used to have a little square in the bottom right hand corner. So basically, if you saw that, you knew you were watching something that was going to be sort of controversial, nasty, or whatever. And Marathon Man was one of the first that they screened. I remember videotaping it and watching it endlessly, apart from the dentistry bit and apart from the broken neck. But it's an awesome movie. Roy Scheider, Dustin Hoffman, Laurence Olivier as a Nazi dentist. My God, what a piece of casting that was. And obviously directed by John Schlesinger, which was just amazing. So to watch that in 4K, that's another one that I will be investing in when I'm absolutely sure that they are all region. Agree with your comments, Dave Lowe, about Will Smith. I still stand by what I said. It was not a nice thing to do, and it wasn't. I'm going back to this Oscar thing again. And like you said, the way to deal with it is not to give him an Oscar and then treat him to another franchise or a high-profile franchise that he's already been in, and a reboot. To me, it was horrible. I saw it, and I'm fairly sure a lot of the world were laughing at it, but I didn't find it funny at all. I thought it was just horrifying that somebody, like you said, could just get up on a stage, physically assault somebody, and then get rewarded for it. Amazing. I mean, I understand he's been banned for 10 years for going anywhere near the Oscars. I mean, that's the least that should happen to him. So yeah, I do agree with you on that one. I'm not sure it's the way to go, but like you say, if Bad Boys 4 is going to make money, they're not going to turn that down, no matter what he's done. So the other one, Jason Kerr, welcome to the group, mate. That's the Australian geezer who does the reviews. I can't remember the name of your channel. I should have written it down. Sorry, mate. But anyway, welcome to the group. Keep posting your videos, mate. Enjoyed the review of Rogue. Definitely need to check that one out again. To me, that was definitely up there with the best of the sort of alligator crocodile movies. I thought it was as good as Lake Placid. It lacked the humour of Lake Placid, but it was a cracking movie. So yeah, keep posting the videos, mate. Looking forward to your next one. Final one is, I'm consulting my notes, Friday the 13th reboot. It looks like it could happen. It looks as if the legal wrangles that were happening, which prevented another Friday the 13th reboot, have now been sorted out. We're also looking at a possible Elm Street reboot, which to me the 2010 one didn't really work that well. I mean, oh God, I don't know whether I should. I mean, yes, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do this time with Friday the 13th or Elm Street, but I'm really, really surprised that somebody up top, when they get these people coming in and pitching these ideas for remakes and reboots and rehashes, that somebody doesn't just turn around and say, do you know what? Why don't we try something original for a change? Something different that's not been done before? Why do we have to keep reinventing and going over old stuff again? I'm fairly sure we've not seen the last of Halloween, even though it ends in October apparently. I'm fairly sure it's going to be back, because you give it 5 years, there's going to be a real appetite for that again, and it will be back. And same as Friday the 13th will be back, and Elm Street. Whether it'll have Robert Englund as Kruger is another matter, but there's been some interesting suggestions cast-wise thrown about with that one. I believe Kevin Bacon was mentioned. That could actually be quite good. That could be interesting. Kevin Bacon as Freddy Krueger. I can't say I'd have seen that one coming, but yeah, that could be worth a look. But it's the same with all these other remakes and reboots. There are hundreds of them in the making at the moment. I saw an article that said there was something like 116 or 117 remakes and reboots actually being made at the moment. It's like every other film is, a remake or a reboot. Does nobody write anything original anymore? This is why I'm looking forward to seeing Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Yes, it does sound ridiculous, and yes, it probably will be a little bit stupid, but to hell with it. We've not seen anything like it before, so go for it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I am looking forward to seeing that one, but you know, because it's not a remake or a reboot, it's going to be something completely different. So yeah, maybe I get the feeling this discussion is going to go on, and I will probably go on and on about it. But yeah, some of them I'm in favour of, and some of them I'm not. It's like Caroline said, and I did mention this last week. If you're going to remake or reboot something, do something that didn't work the first time round and make it better. Don't remake something that was pretty much perfect as it was, knowing full well that it's not going to live up to the original. Roadhouse, need I say more? Anyway, we'll draw a line under that for this week. As for the website, I've decided to keep it to one post a week on there. I did a collection of posts last week, and it looked a little bit cluttered. It looked great at the time I published it, but I mean the website itself is actually doing okay. It's got something like 23,000 hits. That's not bad. That really isn't bad. I just need to get more content on there. But looking at it, I think one article or one review a week, so long as I can do it regular, is more than enough, and it should look really good after a few weeks. I do need to update some more stuff on it as well. But that's what I've decided to go for. One post a week, or at least a fortnight. And the first one, hopefully, if I can get it done, will be later today. I've been sort of working on I think I mentioned earlier, like a retrospective little review of Greece and the impact it had and all that sort of thing. So I'm going to try and finish that later and bang that on. So I'll post that on the Facebook page if I get that done. Right, I'm going to wrap this up for part one because I'm 26 minutes in. And it'll cut out if I'm not careful. So I'll be back again in a few seconds with another load of stuff. Couple of reviews: Elvis, the Baz Lurmahn movie, and Sunshine on Leith, which I watched yesterday. I'll also be doing a top 10, which is going to be Scott Anders this week, Scott the movie critic. As I say with these top 10s, if I'm not getting round to yours at some point, don't worry about it. I've got them all still, and I will get round to them. I've had quite a few. I could do with a few more though. So if any of you have not dropped me your top 10 favourite movies, by all means message them over, please, and I'll get around to them. Right, I'll leave it at that, and I'll be back in a few seconds. Talk to you in a minute, folks. Ta-da. Hey up you lot, welcome back to part two. Right, I'll start this bit with Scott Anders, Scott the movie critic, your top 10, mate. Top 10 movies. So, right, let's start. Number 10, Quadrophenia. Wow, what a movie. Again, saw this when it first came out, 1979. I'd never seen anything quite like it, mostly due to the amount of swearing that was in it. I think we'd had sort of movies where there was a bit of swearing, but nothing like this. It was a raw, bold look at the mod culture of the 60s. As I say, we'd never seen anything like it before. It was beautifully done. The scooters, the soundtrack, everything was brilliant about it. Phil Daniels was in there. There were a lot of actors that went on to much greater things, young actors. Mark Wingett, Toya Wilcox was in there. There were quite a few. They all went on to star in things like EastEnders, The Bill, and the movie itself was absolutely brilliant. I never ever get bored of watching it, and it still looks, due to its period setting, it still looks as fresh today as it did back then. There was, I believe, a kind of a sort of a sequel to it. I think it was called Someone to Love or something like that. I haven't seen it, but I've read reviews of it, and from what I've heard, it didn't work. This really is one of those movies that should be left completely alone. It is perfect as it is. It doesn't need a sequel or a prequel or anything like that. It worked so well because of the cast. They were all absolutely brilliant. So yeah, Quadrophenia, brilliant choice. Number 9, Rocky. Saw Rocky a while ago. It is the only. Oh no, it isn't the only Rocky film I've seen. The other one on your list, I've seen this one as well. Um, but I thought the original Rocky was really, really good. I'm not a huge fan of sports movies. Um, as for boxing movies, the only other one I've seen is Raging Bull, Robert De Niro, and that was brilliant again because of De Niro's performance and also Joe Pesci, who was superb in this. Um, but that's the only other boxing film I've seen. But Rocky, not a bad movie, not a bad movie at all. It won the Oscar, I believe, for Best Picture, and I think Stallone actually wrote the screenplay, which was rejected uh, originally and then taken up at some point. But yeah, Rocky, really, really enjoyed it. Number 8, Saving Private Ryan. Again, classic movie. Tom Hanks. Um, Saw this one at the cinema when it first came out. Those first 15 minutes, it is just one of the most shocking, hard-hitting opening scenes I think I've ever seen in a movie. If anything could bring the horror of war home to you, it is those first 15 minutes. It was just awful. Um, and obviously, you realise when you watch that why a lot of the veterans do not like talking about it, because it must have been just horrifying, horrendous. Brilliant movie, absolutely superb, but hard to watch. Number 7, Scarface. He's behind me. Pacino. Brilliant movie, absolutely superb. Nearly 3 hours long. Again, an iconic film. It never ceases to amaze me how many young people who were not around in 1983 or 4 when this film came out have actually seen it, and love it. It's one of those it's cross generations. So yeah, I would definitely go along with the Scarface. This, I think, is the only one on your list that I've not seen. Number 6, Hacksaw Ridge. Now I know it's a war movie. It's got brilliant reviews. A few people at work have told me about it and basically said you really need to get this one watched. So I will be tracking down a copy of that one. And what I intend to do at some point is take one movie from everybody's list that I haven't seen and take a look at it and see what I can find and see what I think of it. And I'll let you know about that next week, because I've already done, is it 2 or 3? I think Will Barlow's list, the one that I would love to see, is The Northman. I've also got Free State of Jones, so there's a couple of his list. Simon's, I'm not sure because I can't remember a lot of them. I need to go back and have a look at those. But I want to pick one off yours, mate, and have a look at that one. But out of yours, Scott, the only one I've not seen is Hacksaw Ridge, so I'll be taking a look at that one at some point. Number 5, Whiplash. Wow, that was an intense drama. It's been a while since I was been made to feel so uncomfortable watching a movie that was pretty much all talking and shouting. Miles Teller plays a jazz drummer, who basically joins like a college to learn to play better, world class. And this class is run by, what was his name? I can't remember. But the character is just horrible. You've got to, if you've never seen Whiplash and you're not a massive fan of music movies or music based movies, I would definitely recommend this. It's not something I would ever have watched, but somebody recommended it to me and said you need to watch it if you like drama. Forget the fact that it's set, in the world of music. Just take a look at it for the drama, and I was not disappointed. What an horrendous film. As I say, a lot of the scenes in there I was literally really uncomfortable watching it, but the character played by, I can't remember his name, the bald-headed guy, but his character is just awful, absolutely awful beyond belief. But yeah, Whiplash, superb movie. Number 4, The Shining, total classic, absolute classic. Never have I seen since that a more awesome portrayal of basically a guy losing his marbles. Jack Nicholson takes a job at the Overlook Hotel, which is in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the I think is it Denver, somewhere like that, but it's surrounded by snow, beautiful place, and he takes a seasonal job to look after the hotel when it's shut, keep it running, and all that sort of thing. Amazing movie, absolutely superb. Never get bored of watching it. That's one of the movies I have actually bought on 4K, so I'm looking forward to seeing that when I get my setup. Number 3, Rocky 3. Oh, excuse me. That's the only other Rocky film that I've seen. Again, you couldn't move for Rocky 3 in 1982, I think it came out. Eye of the Tiger was number 1. It was just everywhere. This is the one with Mr. T, and it is the only other Rocky film that I've seen. It wasn't bad. I wouldn't class it as good as the original Rocky, and I've yet to watch the others, so I need to dig that box set up out at some point. But yes, I have seen that one. Number 2, Shawshank Redemption. As classics go, it doesn't get any better than that. I haven't seen it for a while. Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman played jailbirds, basically. It was adapted, I believe, from a short story by Stephen King. And there is there a slight supernatural element to it? I need to watch it again because I haven't seen it for a while. But yeah, number 2, total classic. And your number 1 did catch me off guard. There's always one on every list that catches me slightly off guard, and it's this one, the original Dawn of the Dead. Now, I remember seeing this, oh God, this would have been about 1979, 1980. This is the one set in the shopping mall, if I remember right. There was Night of the Living Dead in 1968, and then George Romero came out with this one about 10 years later. We'd never seen gore like it at the time. It was just horrendous. Cracking movie. I really, really, really enjoyed this one the first time I saw it. But again, it was a difficult watch, and there are so many different versions of this. It was also banned in the UK. It made the video nasties list for quite a while, and then it got reissued again. And now we've got probably 3 or 4 different cuts of the movie. I think there's a Dario Argento cut, there's a festival cut, there's all sorts, and you never know which one to go for. I believe one of the Blu-ray companies brought out a box set with about 6 discs, and I think every single one had a different version of it. And I was going to get it, but it was quite expensive, and I didn't get around to it in the end. So whether it's still available or not, I don't know. But that's a cracking choice for number 1, mate. It's a long film as well. I believe it's over 2 hours, but well worth it. So yeah, cracking list, Scott. Nice one, mate. Right, Sequelophobia. That'll be back any week now. I've not had a chance to watch the final Mad Max movie, which is Fury Road. So I need to get round to watching that one and take a look at that before I bring Sequelophobia back. And then it's just deciding which franchise to move on to next. I don't know whether it'll be Rocky or not. There's about 8 or 9 of them, so that could take forever. I'm very tempted to do the Back to the Future movies, or possibly even the Alien ones. There's so many. Which one would you like me to watch? Drop your answers in the comments. Not Rocky, please. Don't subject me to Rocky just yet. Right, book of the week. Here we go. Atomic Age Cinema. I love this. I've not read it. I've dipped into it quite a few times and read, odd pages of this. I love this. This is basically to do with the movies of the 50s, the sci-fi movies of the 50s that were usually based around atomic bombs going off, giant spiders, giant ants, aliens, that kind of thing. It's a cracking book. I've tried to have a flip through it, but this never really works. But just going through, it's illustrated with photographs and posters. It's just a really good read. I really enjoyed the bits that I've read of this. I'm not sure it's one that you would read cover to cover. It would take you quite a while. But that's Atomic Age Cinema. I really love books like this. I can sit and read these for hours. Right, let's see. What have I bought this week? Amazon. Sorry. First one. I spotted this and couldn't resist it. Now, I don't know very much about Phil Daniels. I've seen him in Scum, I've seen him in Quadrophenia, and I've seen him in EastEnders. I know he's done quite a bit else, but I need to know more about him. And I spotted this, which is his autobiography, so I'm really, really looking forward to having a read of that, and I'm basically finding out what else he's done. It was also the voice, it says on the back here, on Blur's Part Life. So I did know that, but I'd forgotten about it. But there's quite a few other bits that he's been in, I'm sure, so I'm looking forward to having a read of that. And I bought, let's see, I couldn't resist this. ABBA the movie. I haven't seen this for years. I remember going to see this in 1977. I think it was one of the first movies, apart from Star Wars, where they were literally queuing out of the cinema, around the back of the building and onto the street, which would have been Station Street, and queuing a fair bit down there. This was absolutely massive. I didn't actually join that queue. I waited for a couple of weeks until it had sort of petered out a bit, and then I went and saw it. But I absolutely love this. The story's a little bit weak. It just concerns a reporter who needs to get an interview with the band while they're on their Australian tour, and a lot of it is concert footage, and a lot of it is this reporter trying to catch these people to get an interview with them. But I absolutely love this. The soundtrack is superb, and obviously when I bought that, I couldn't not get that. This isn't even out the cellophane yet, but this is going into the car later on. This is the soundtrack to it, which has got pretty much every song that was in it, and is absolutely superb. I believe there is a DVD with this as well, so I need to have a look at that one. I think this cost me about £20. It was quite expensive, but worth it. I have actually got this on vinyl upstairs from a long time back, which I would have bought pretty much straight after I came out of the cinema. I'd have gone to somewhere like RE Chords or WA Smith, and I'd have snapped that one up, but I couldn't resist that, so that's that one. Let's see, bin it or keep it for this week is this one. I was recommended this by two people within the space of a week, so I thought, I'll invest in it. It was only about £3. Sunshine on Leith. I'd never heard of it. I had no idea what it was about. I watched the trailer and thought, ooh, not sure about that one. But Jason, you recommended it to me. And then a guy at work, Pete, who's one of the heads of our maintenance department, completely floored me by telling me that he loved musicals. I thought he was an action movie kind of guy, but he loves his musicals. The only ones he doesn't like, or he thinks he doesn't like, is the ABBA one, the Mamma Mia. He wasn't keen on that one, but he recommended this one to me. So I got hold of it and I watched it last night. What to tell you about the story? Two young guys come back from Afghanistan after a tour over there. Come back home, and it's basically a romantic comedy drama. I thought this was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I didn't think I did. It's one of those movie musicals that's based around a certain band, like Mamma Mia was ABBA. This is based around the music of the Proclaimers. Now, I'm not familiar with them at all. There was a guy that I used to work with many years ago who loved these blokes. He absolutely loved listening to them, and he was always trying to get me into them, and now I can see why. The only track I know of theirs would be 900 miles, 500 miles. Ignoramus. But yeah, that's the only one that I knew. But I have to admit, I absolutely loved this. I wasn't sure I was going to like it. Sort of after the first 10 minutes, I thought, I'm not sure about this. But I came away from this with the biggest smile on my face. I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. The soundtrack is superb. It's made me want to grab a hold of the CD soundtrack to the movie, and also maybe a Proclaimers CD to see whether, to basically hear the original versions of the songs featured in this. But as I say, the story is just, it's a romantic comedy drama. The less you know about it, the better. But if you've not seen this or heard of it, grab it and take a look. I promise you will not be disappointed. You will just come away from this with the biggest grin on your face. So yeah, highly recommended, Sunshine on Leith. The other movie I got a chance to watch last night is Elvis. Now this is the Baz Luhrmann adaptation of his life story. Now I've not seen any other Baz Luhrmann films, but I've read reviews that basically say this is absolutely Baz Luhrmann written all over it. It is bold, it's brash, it's loud, it's colourful. You watch it and it's a bit like reading a comic book. There are really big captions that tell you where you are and what year you're in, and the whole thing looks like a really big comic book. It is beautifully done. Austin Butler is superb. I took one look at a picture of him before I'd actually seen it and thought, oh, maybe, I don't know. It's done mostly from the viewpoint of Colonel Tom Parker, who was supposedly his manager. He called himself his partner, but I think he was more his manager. And his character, he does come across as not very nice at all. He was really good at manipulating people, including Elvis and his family. The movie goes right from his early days right up to the end. The first half is fast, it's furious. We've got lots of jump cuts, as I say, lots of big captions. It moves along at a fast pace, and it slows down a bit probably during the last hour and a quarter. But I just thought it was superb. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, because I realised it was nearly 3 hours long, and I thought this is going to be a long haul. I'm either going to love it or hate it, but every single review I've read of this has been absolutely blinding, and I now know why. It's superb. So if you've not seen Elvis, I would definitely recommend it. Austin Butler is brilliant in the title role. Tom Hanks, superb. The music, the soundtrack, you've never heard anything like it. A lot of his hits have been mixed, and I know this sounds completely unlike me, but mixed with elements of rap music. And as much as, if somebody had told me that before I'd have watched it, I'd have thought, oh, I probably ain't going to bother with it then. But you watch it, and for some weird reason, it really works well. I think Eminem does one of them, but yeah, it's well worth it. That's another soundtrack that I wouldn't mind investing in, and I probably will do. But yeah, if you've not seen Elvis, track it down. It's a long haul, it's 3 hours, but it is so worth it. I do get the feeling there's a lot that they missed out of it. I mean, he had a hell of a life. What I didn't realise was that he was only 42 when he died. But when you look at those final scenes, he did not look well at all. And with everything that he'd been through during sort of the last few years of his life, it's hardly surprising. But yeah, it is an amazing film. I think Mark Kermode called it a masterpiece, and I don't think it's that far away from that. I thought it was really, really good, and that is one that I will definitely be investing in 4K. That'll probably be one of the first ones that I get, along with Dress to Kill and Marathon Man, of course. But yeah, if you've not seen it, have a look. It's absolutely well worth watching. So what else have I got? I think there's only quote encounters to do now, and we're done for this week. So it's to do with one of the movies that I've already mentioned this time, and it's 2 lines. Here we go. Oh, what you done? I don't know, I can't see, can I? I think that was it. Oh, what you done? I don't know what I've done, I can't see, can I? Answers in the usual places. Last week's, by the way, nobody answered it. I was quite surprised. Was Beverly Hills Cop. So, right, that's it. Thanks ever so much for joining me, folks. I'm going to cobble this together and get it uploaded to Facebook, hopefully before like 3 o'clock in the morning, to give you all a chance to have a watch. As I say, thanks for joining me. If you've enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up and also subscribe. That would be amazing. I'll be back next week with more of the same. I'm going to get out into the sun shortly, take a nice little walk in it for about half an hour, and then get some films watched that I can talk about next week. So have a brilliant week, folks, and I will talk to you all again next weekend. Take care, everybody. Ta-da. Hey, up again. I really have got the crappiest memory in the world. I forgot vinyl soundtrack of the week. I've actually got it sitting by the side of me. I couldn't not show this one off. Sudden Impact and the best of Dirty Harry. This is basically bits of the soundtracks of all of the Dirty Harry movies, which if you've watched them, you will know what they are. This is superb. I remember buying this from a place called 58 Dean Street Records in London, which was a specialist soundtrack shop, and I believe this was an import at the time. There's the back of it, and I mean your track listing. You've got tracks from, you've got the Dirty Harry theme. You've got tracks from Sudden Impact, the Enforcer. Magnum Force, pretty much all of them, but this is absolutely brilliant. I still play this occasionally. I haven't done for quite a while, but I do still play it. But yeah, that's the vinyl soundtrack of the week, and I'm really sorry that I forgot that. The thing's like massive and it's sitting right next to me and I still forgot it. So, right, that's it for this week, folks, for definite. As I say, if you've enjoyed the video, thumbs up and subscribe. I will let you go now and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.